So, good morning, everyone, and afternoon, depending on where you are joining us from the country. Bonjour à tous. My name is Krista Costas-Bradstreet. I'm the Director of Partnerships and Education for the Canadian Parks and Recreation Association, or CPRA. And I'd like to acknowledge my partner, MJ Akonde. She is CPRA's Director of Operations, and she helps with the running of these, the running of the webinar. So we really appreciate her help. As the National Office of CPRA is located in Ottawa, I would like to acknowledge that CPRA is located on the unceded traditional territory of the Algonquin and Mohawk First Nations. We acknowledge the historical oppression of lands, cultures, and of the original peoples in what we now know as Canada, and we aim to contribute to the healing and decolonizing journey we all share together. For those of us who are settlers, through our work at CPRA, we commit to recognizing and honoring the relationships between Indigenous people, their lifeways, and their land. So again, we're really thrilled to welcome you today to our Lunch and Learn, and we are focusing today on the Red Cross swim transition. So before I turn it over to our two presenters, I just want to tell you very quickly about CPRA. So the Canadian Parks and Recreation Association is a national organization dedicated to realizing the full potential of parks and recreation as a major contributor to community health and vibrancy. CPRA has been around for over 60 years, and we are the national voice for parks and recreation, advancing the collective interests of our members through leadership and advocacy, policy, and research. We're a community. So we are a national network dedicated to the well-being of people, communities, and the natural and built environments. And we serve as a resource for our members, which are the 13 provincial and territorial associations across the country, and our partners by contributing knowledge and opportunities that enhance and grow the sector. So as I mentioned, we are an alliance of provincial and territorial associations across Canada. Together with our partners, we envision a Canada in which everyone is engaged in meaningful, accessible parks and recreation experiences that foster individual well-being, community well-being, and the well-being of our natural and built environments. We work with a variety of national and international organizations to further the parks and recreation agenda in Canada. So if you have any other questions about CPRA or want to learn more, please feel free to go to the website at cpra.ca. So I'd like to get us started because we have lots to cover. We are together today for 45 minutes. So I'll start by introducing our presenters for today, and then I will turn this over to them. So first, from the Lifesaving Society, we have Wendy Schultenkamper. She is a Director of Operations for Lifesaving Society Canada. Wendy has been involved in aquatics for over 35 years and has an extensive background in managing and operating aquatic facilities, training, and program development. In addition to being a life-saving lifeguard and first aid instructor trainer, Wendy also spent 15 years as a paramedic with the BC Ambulance Service before joining the BC Yukon branch of the Lifesaving Society as the education director. After 9 years with the branch, Wendy joined the national office in 2016 in the role of Director of Operations. And joining us from the Canadian Red Cross is Lesley Anderson. Lesley is currently a swimming and water safety account manager with the Canadian Red Cross, with accounts in Northern Alberta, Nova Scotia, and Ontario. She has an extensive background in municipal, private sector, and not-for-profit recreation management, as well as recreation facility design and feasibility studies and master planning. Lesley has a passion for training and facilitation and a strong commitment to helping others reach their full potential in a safe and meaningful way. So really want to thank both of you today for your presentation, and I'm going to hand it over to Lesley to start us off. Thanks.
Thanks, Krista. I'm Lesley, and I'd like to begin by acknowledging that I'm presenting today from Flamborough, which is within the traditional territories of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Huron-Wendat Nations, and Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. Just before we begin our presentation, a couple of housekeeping. So for those of you who may not have caught it, we are recording the session today, and it will be available over the next few days to access on CPRA's The Bench. You may also have noticed that you've been muted, and we would like to request that you use the chat for any questions that you might have. And while using the chat, just please remember to be respectful and kind going forward. We will have an opportunity at the end to answer questions that have come up in the chat, and as well as questions that were sent in ahead of time. If for some reason we're not able to answer your question directly today, then we will follow up with it afterwards. And we also we're presenting a lot of information today, so it's quite possible that if you've come armed with questions already, that those might get answered through the course of the presentation. So what are we going to cover today? Well, we're going to take a couple of minutes to just review how we got to this decision for Red Cross to move away from swimming and water safety and the partnership with Lifesaving. I'd like to take some time just to present our psychological first aid program, our opioid harm reduction project, and then I'll pass over to Wendy, who will take you through the Lifesaving Society Canada, a brief history of their involvement with swimming and water safety, and an overview of the Swim for Life. And then finally, as I said at the end, we'll get to your questions and hopefully have the majority of the answers. Go to the next slide. I'm hoping that this picture brings up some positive memories from everybody from your years of taking different swim lessons. And possibly there are some people on the call today who may remember a program that we just couldn't fit on this slide. So if you remember, before these programs, there was our beginner, junior, intermediate, and senior levels. We're enormously proud to have provided water safety training to over 40 million Canadians in the past 75 years. And we're truly grateful to entire generations of staff and volunteers who dedicated themselves to creating a program of the highest standard. As you know, Red Cross will be leaving swimming and water safety to direct more attention to surging humanitarian needs in other areas, such as a pandemic, the opioid crisis, and caregiving for seniors. We've already engaged heavily in all those areas, and that's expected to continue. While Red Cross continues to believe strongly in the importance of water safety, we've determined that the relative humanitarian need has been surpassed by current and emergency national health crises that have generated unprecedented levels of Red Cross engagement. COVID-19 alone has prompted more than 100 Red Cross activations in support of initiatives by the Government of Canada, provinces, and territories. During the past year, Red Cross has also responded to 3 large-scale disasters and launched a significant initiative funded by Health Canada to reduce opioid-related deaths. While the data clearly supports the shift in our direction, the decision to step away from water safety was not taken lightly. To that end, the arrangement with the Lifesaving Society was chosen as the best path forward to ensuring our exit from water safety would not disrupt Canadians' access to critical training. Please know that it's the intention of both organizations to make the transition of Red Cross water safety delivery partners, instructors, lifeguards, and others as easy as possible. Next. As we all know, collaboration is always key, and in this situation, it's going to make the transition feel better supported and simple as we move forward. Some things that are maybe a top of mind, or we'd like to put top of mind in your thoughts as you're going through the transition is, first off, all Red Cross training partners have until December 31st, 2022 to transition from using Red Cross swimming and water safety programs. We'd encourage you to visit My Red Cross, where you can read the swim transition web document. So you go to My Red Cross, news, and then swim transition. If you haven't heard from your Red Cross account manager already, we are reaching out to everyone across the country, then please feel free to reach out to them. And your account manager will go over with you your supply inventory, your 2022 Red Cross programming needs, and the account closing process. We would recommend, if you haven't been in contact with your local life-saving branch, that you contact them. They'll also be contacting you, and they can help to support you and determine what training needs you have in building capacity to run Swim for Life and assist in building your knowledge of all the program requirements. Together, we'll work to help you decide and determine what would be a good transition time and to get you started with running life-saving programs. Jointly, there will be paperwork from both sides that will be completed. Some may be preferring to finish off Red Cross first and then do life-saving paperwork, but it can be done at the same time. Next one. As I referred to at the beginning, a large driving force behind us moving away from swimming water safety is the number of emerging growing needs in Canada. Some of these statistics you may already be aware of, but to highlight them, the top 3 priorities of over 80% of Canadian employers include $6.3 billion is spent on uninsured mental health services and time off work for mental health related illnesses. 1 in 3 people have suffered from mental illness or mental health illness or injury. Mental health illness is equivalent or accounts for 30% of all short and long-term disability claims, and workplace stress is a top cause of mental health illness, followed by depression and anxiety. We are expecting a 68% increase in emergency department visits by youth seeking mental health care in the next 5 years. 20% of Canadian youth are affected by mental illness, but only 1 in 5 receive the services they need. Of Canadians aged 15 or older who report having a mental health care need in the past year, 1/3 state that their needs were not fully met. And a 2016 National College Health Assessment Post-Secondary Student Survey discovered that over 10 years, there's been a 66% increase in children seeking mental health. 1 in 3 people, again, have suffered from a mental health related illness. 46% of college students reported feeling so depressed it was difficult to function. 65% of college students reported experiencing overwhelming anxiety, and 14% had seriously considered suicide. Next. In considering the seriousness and the growing trend of increased demand for healthcare and mental health care, one of the things that Red Cross has created, and may be familiar to some of you, is our psychological first aid program. It was created to address a growing need identified in our communities and to address a gap in wellness education. The psychological first aid program is designed to support the emotional, physical, and social well-being of individuals, whether at school, the workplace, or in the community, and it's designed to mitigate the effects of high stress levels, burnout, and suicidal thoughts and actions for people of all ages. The program itself works around a resiliency approach to mental wellness. It's evidence-based with the latest research on emotional, psychosocial well-being. It's a program for everybody, all audiences, youth, adults, sports, professional responders. It complements and fits with our other wellness programs, and it uses a case-based approach to self-care, personal protection, loss, grief, and stress. There's a menu of options under the psychological first aid. Self-care and caring for others are available as a standalone online module that anybody can do on their own time. It's self-directed. Self-care and self-wellness is sort of a hybrid of the self-care online module and then a small in-person component. And then psychological first aid can also be offered as a full 2-day certification course. There's a variety of virtual delivery options available. Next. And the distribution model for psychological first aid is through third-party delivery by training partners who use a trauma-informed approach to facilitation. So they're experts in creating safe learning environments and using the interventions to facilitate fun, team-inspired activities. And we have lots of flexible scheduling options. So if you're not running psychological first aid, or you think it might be of interest to your own workplace, to your community, then I would recommend that you reach out to us and we'd be happy to walk you through the different options. New to the Red Cross is creating and working on an opioid harm reduction program. This project is aimed at reducing opioid-related deaths by increasing Canadians' access to opioid poisoning response training and life-saving medication known as naloxone. The primary focus of this project is to reach people at risk for opioid poisoning in underserved, remote, rural, or Indigenous communities. Next. Just, we've all heard about the opioid crisis, but to put some numbers to that. So in Canada, there's 17 deaths per day, 14 hospitalizations per day, 21,174 deaths happened between 2016 and 2020 that were related to opioid poisoning. And in the first 3 months of 2021, there were 1,772 deaths from opioid poisoning. So an average of 20 deaths per day. COVID-19 outbreak has only worsened the opioid crisis. And there's several factors that have contributed to this, including an increasing toxic drug supply, heightened feelings of isolation throughout the pandemic, stress and anxiety, and limited availability or accessibility of services for those who use drugs. Through just the first 9 months of the pandemic, opioid toxicity deaths in Canada increased over the previous year by 89%. The opioid harm reduction project is focused on creating a different way of thinking, a community-led approach to opioid death prevention. And 4 ways we're hoping to accomplish this is by looking for a disruptive, decolonized solution to education and naloxone access. So not only restricting education and naloxone to sort of our traditional classroom or clinical settings. We're focused on the importance of language and reducing the stigma. So you will see through our Red Cross materials the term opioid poisoning and not the word opioid overdose. We're doing a gap analysis to see who's not being served currently by education and naloxone access. And we're looking to create a program with the community and not for the community. There's 3 phases to the opioid harm reduction program. The first one is the integration of response training into existing program. And we've been doing that for some time now, and that involves introducing what is opioid poisoning to those taking first aid courses, what is naloxone, a demonstration of how they could use naloxone, where they could access it. The second phase is starting to understand where are the gaps. So doing a gap analysis and working with advisory groups, designing learning interventions with communities, and just the distribution of product through traditional structures in education. And then the third phase will be to create distribution pathway that produces normalization and training and distribution that are directed towards the individual. Currently, we're focused on Model 2, and in Phase 2 or Model 2, we're looking at training 11,000 participants, and it's expected that 65% of these will then cascade their acquired knowledge within their communities. We're cascading knowledge via opioid harm reduction learning leaders, so existing TPs and new or lower barrier TPs, opioid harm reduction champions, so they will not be delivering education, but they're able to share resources and link people to the resources. We're creating a dedicated gateway to support the opioid harm reduction project, an accessible hub for education, resources, and collaboration, and then naloxone distribution, enhancing and increasing that through medical directive procurement, distribution, and logistics. How can you support the Canadian Red Cross with the opioid harm reduction? Provide us feedback. Let us know what's happening in your community, where the underserved populations exist in your province, connections in the community, create new ones or identify ones to develop new relationships for the development and distribution of education, promote the program provincially, and look for where might there be opportunities for this program to be a fit. You can watch your inbox, more information will be coming, or you can also email ohr@redcross.ca, and we're happy to work with your community to spread this program out and support and hopefully meet our goal of reducing the deaths from opioid poisoning. So watch for more to come. And having said that, I'm going to pass you over to Wendy now from Lifesaving, and she will be able to provide you some life-saving background and walk you through the Swim for Life program.
Great. Thank you so much, Lesley. And previously, thank you, Krista, as well, for having both of us here today to talk about the swim transition and this great collaboration that the Lifesaving Society Canada and the Canadian Red Cross has ventured into. Just a little bit about the Lifesaving Society. I don't want to get too much involved here, but it's actually possible that there's some people out there heard about us, especially perhaps in Red Cross facilities that only offer the Red Cross programs, may not be overly familiar with who the Lifesaving Society is. I mean, I'm really pleased to say that we have actually 118 years of history of saving lives in Canada. And the first bronze medallion was actually taught in 1896 to students in the Upper Canada College in Toronto. And under the patronage of King Edward VII in 1904, we became the Royal Lifesaving Society of Canada. Since then, of course, we've been really busy. In the 1950s, we were actually the first Canadian organization to adopt mouth-to-mouth resuscitation as the preferred way to resuscitate drowned patients over other manual methods of artificial respiration. In 1964, we actually became the steward of the National Lifeguard program that we originally worked with in collaboration with the Canadian Red Cross back in the day. And we've been managing that program ever since. And it's actually the only lifeguard program in Canada right now that is recognized in all 10 provinces and all 3 territories. In 2001, in response to a lot of the drowning statistics that we were seeing, with the key one being that the majority of all drownings actually occur within 15 meters of safety, we launched the Swim to Survive program to help teach Canadians the minimum essential skills that they would need to survive a fall in deep water. This is, of course, different than our Learn to Swim program. One is more of an emergency self-rescue program, you know, as opposed to taking swimming lessons, which gives us those lifelong skills of both enjoyment of the water as well as to ensure the safety of ourselves and those of our families. Today, the Lifesaving Society is an independent charitable organization that works to prevent drowning through its training programs, public education, programs such as National Drowning Prevention Week. Many of you may have heard about that. The drowning prevention research that we do, aquatic safety management, and interestingly enough, life-saving sport. Every year, over 1.2 million Canadians participate in our swimming, life-saving, and lifeguarding programs. So we've actually been lurking around for a while, often in the background. Anybody who's been associated with aquatic facilities have likely heard of us. If you're not one to be lurking around aquatic facilities, we might be perhaps one of the best kept secrets in Canada. That being said, we're not totally out of the game, of course. We actually have a position statement, and this comes from the fact that almost 500 Canadians die every year due to water-related injuries. Most of these occur in unsupervised settings, and more people actually die each year than those involved in motor vehicle accidents and drunk driving accidents. So we actually have our Swim for Life program philosophy, and Swim for Life is the name of our Learn to Swim program, which is that basic swimming ability is a fundamental requirement in any meaningful attempt to eliminate drowning in Canada. And that's always been our goal. Our #1 mission is to reduce drowning and water-related injury in Canada. So with that in mind, just a little bit of history on the Swim for Life program itself. So this was actually launched 20 years ago, initially in Alberta, and it became a national, meaning that it is or was available across the country. Most of our provinces have adopted the Swim for Life program, with Quebec and BC being the exception. And with the launch of this program now across the country, many people in those 2 provinces probably weren't even aware that we had a Swim for Life program because of the great relationship that we did foster with the Red Cross in those 2 provinces over the decades. This particular program is designed to provide participants with safety skills and strokes that provide a lifelong basis for safe and enjoyable participation in aquatics. It's designed to promote the acquisition of basic competency and fundamental swimming strokes in related to aquatic skills. One of the things that affiliates, of course, were looking for at the time was a comprehensive program that was cost effective. And as I mentioned earlier, focused on basic swimming skills and strokes, and also to provide a seamless lead into some of our other programs, such as Canadian Swim Patrol, bronze medals, and our lifeguard programs as well. So just a little bit about the levels themselves. We have a parent and taught curriculum. It's comprised of 3 levels, with level 1 focusing on 4 to 12 months, level 2 focusing on 12 to 24 months, and level 3 focusing on 2 to 3 years of age. The program itself stresses the importance of play in developing water positive attitudes, and all of the activities are based on child development and movement through the levels that are appropriate for those particular age groups. When we move into our preschool classes, we have 5 levels of those, and it's geared towards 3 to 5-year-olds. And of course, we want to develop an appreciation and healthy respect of the water for children of that age. We strive to ensure that children of that age are comfortable in the water and also have fun acquiring all the different skills that they need in order to be safe in the water. In the next level, this is our swimmer 1 through 9. And this is focusing 5 to 12-year-olds. Now, the actual learn to swims on this are 6 levels, 1 through to 6. And with the focus of lots of in-water practice to develop solid swimming skills and strokes. The main strokes that we focus on are front crawl, back crawl, and breaststroke, in addition to our 3 life-saving kicks, which is whip kick, egg beater, and scissor kick. Included in the swimming lessons are also water smart drowning prevention messages that are really an integral part of the Swim for Life program and necessary to help ensure that people make water smart decisions as they mature and spend time around our wonderful water environments here in Canada, and hopefully try to keep them safe. The system is also designed that the Canadian Swim Patrol levels, which is Rookie, Ranger, and Star, can actually swimmer level 7, 8, and 9. And the Canadian Swim Patrol levels include water proficiency modules, basic first aid modules, as well as basic recognition and rescue modules as well. So this is where they start to get a taste of recognizing when somebody's in trouble and some things that are age appropriate for them to do to help somebody who's in trouble. From there, the next level, of course, is our adults. We have 3 levels here. Adult swimmer is basically the same as level 1 and level 2 in the regular Learn to Swim curriculum. Adult level 2 is comprised of swimmer 3 and 4, and adult 3 is comprised of swimmer 5 and 6. And again, depending where those adults are, they can fit right into the level that's most appropriate for their current swimming ability. And like with the kids, of course, we also include age-appropriate water safety and water smart messages as well. Last but not least, we also have what we call the fitness swimmer level. This is basically 1 level, and it is not age, it's appropriate for all ages. And what it really does is it builds strength and endurance to take kids kind of to that next level. And it's also a great piece, you know, sometimes to get some candidates involved for a little bit of extra swimming, perhaps to help them to complete their level 5 or their level 6 as well. The program itself has a variety of recognition pieces. So this is just one example. This is a ribbon system for the preschoolers. So it has ribbons 1 through to 5. It has a progress card specific to each level, along with a little character that is also specific to each level. So in this case, I've provided the example of preschool level 3, which is the turtle, sample of the card, as well as the badge. Sorry, not the badge, but the ribbons in this case. The ribbons are not mandatory. And for the affiliates out there, the progress cards can either be purchased or downloaded from your provincial territorial branch of the Lifesaving Society. One of the other things too that we can do is the progress cards can also be customized if you work with the branch to include your municipal or facility logo as well. So again, we're really interested in developing a partnership with our affiliates in addition to just providing them with the materials. This is an example of the materials that we have for the regular swimmer program. So there's a sample picture of the card. We have the badges 1 through to 6, and I've also included a sample of the badges from Rookie, Ranger, and Star. Like with the preschool program, the use of the ribbons and badges are not mandatory. The progress cards can also be downloaded or purchased, and also can be customized to include your municipal or facility logo. Up next, we do have the curriculum here, and the way that you can go, and I'm not sure if you can see my cursor on this one, but I have it down here at the bottom. So the easiest flow, and this is one of the things that the affiliates was looking at, was you go from parent and taught, you come all the way around to your preschool 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it's, if you notice, it jumps up to swimmer 2, and you have swimmer 1 there in the back. That's because kids can enter anywhere that they want within this continuum. You can then follow through the 6 swimmer levels, all the way up through the Rookie, Ranger, Star Patrol, which then leads seamlessly into our Bronze Star, Bronze Medallion, and Bronze Cross program. For those of you who may not be aware, Bronze Cross for the Lifesaving Society is the assistant lifeguard equivalent. It is also the prerequisite to go on to take your standard first aid, which is a prereq to our national lifeguard program. And then of course, from there, we have all of our leadership that then branches off of that. So just a bit of a basic flow chart, just to see all the different programming options that could be available to you. So just moving on to some of the transition stuff within itself, and there sure has been a lot of questions about this. So we'll just tackle the swim transition for the WSIs. And again, I really want to reinforce the fact that the Canadian Red Cross and the Lifesaving Society really collaborated about what we needed to do to make this transition as smooth and seamless as possible, while continuing to maintain the standards and the values of both organizations. So when we look at the swim transition for our water safety instructors, one of the things that has to happen is we do need to transfer your WSI data from the Red Cross to the Lifesaving Society. And if you haven't already received an email from the Red Cross asking you to do this, or if you've perhaps accidentally said no, or perhaps did not get the email, please reach out to your swim transition person from the Red Cross, and they will make sure that this happens for you. Once you've transferred your information, you will then take the online self-guided transition clinic through elifesaving.ca, or you can attend an in-person clinic that will be offered by your branch, both of which are approximately 2 hours in length. Once you've completed the transition, you'll get a certificate. And when the branch receives confirmation of the completion of your program, you will then be sent a swim instructor card that will be valid for 2 years from the date of the completion of your transition. All transition must be completed by December 31st, 2022. Any instructors who do not transition before the end of the year will have to go through the regular instructor training programs, and it's much more time consuming. One of the things we really want to do in year one here is to recognize the competencies of our water safety instructors, as well as to move this through as quickly as possible so that we can start offering these programs in our affiliates, to our affiliates come the new year. One of the things that is included with the swim transition is the copy of the Swim for Life Award Guide. Not only will you be mailed a hard copy of this when you register and pay for the course, the cost of the manual will be $21 plus tax, but you will also receive a digital copy so that you could complete your online program without having to wait for the manual. The next one is the swim transition for water safety instructor trainers. And for this one, they will complete the same swim transition clinic as water safety instructors. And then you will take some type of a trainer. I don't want to say it's a course. What it's going to be is a small update. Again, we recognize that WSIT are already instructor trainers, already hold a certain amount of competencies. And it's really meant to orientate those who may not be as familiar with the Lifesaving Society and our programs and our procedures to do that adequately. So once that is over and you've completed your online program, as well as the trainer course or update as approved by the branch, your branch will then send out a new swim IT, don't want to mix up my words here, a new swim IT card that will be valid for 2 years from the completion of the date of the trainer course. And the minute you get that swim instructor card, you can immediately start teaching the swim instructor courses at your facility. Likewise, this transition does need to be completed before December 31st of 2022. Next up is the swim transition for current assistant lifeguards of the Red Cross. And there's a couple of options here. So if you are a Red Cross assistant lifeguard, you're already 15 years of age, all you need to do then is take a Bronze Cross recert and you are good to go. If you are an assistant lifeguard and you're under the age of 15, you will need to also take a Bronze Cross certification, but you will not be able to take your National Lifeguard until you take your standard first aid, of course, and then you can proceed to take National Lifeguard once you do turn 15. Next up is the transition for fully certified Canadian Red Cross actual lifeguards. So if you're a fully certified lifeguard and you hold your standard first aid, all you need to do is take a National Lifeguard recert from the Lifesaving Society and you're good to go. As with all of the other programs, this must be completed before December the 31st, 2022. As we jump into the swim transition for lifeguard instructors, so this would be the equivalent to a national lifeguard instructor for us. So if you're a CRC assistant lifeguard instructor and you've taken your Bronze Cross research, so you're certified in that, then you need to take your actual life-saving instructor course or a branch equivalent to that in order to get your life-saving instructor. When you do get your life-saving instructor, though, it also allows you to teach a number of other programs to include Bronze Star, Bronze Medallion, of course, Bronze Cross, programs like, Distinction if you happen to hold it, the Canadian Swim Patrol, and a number of other types of programs as well. If you're a Canadian Red Cross lifeguard instructor and you actually hold a Lifesaving Society National Lifeguard Award already, you can go straight into the instructor course or branch version thereof, and you'll come out the other side as a Lifesaving Society National Lifeguard Instructor. So to find out more information on these transitions and all the various courses and all the types of trainer clinics that are being hosted, is you definitely want to check with your provincial territorial branch. If you are not familiar with how to contact them, if you were to just put into, say, a Google search, Lifesaving Society BC, Lifesaving Society Manitoba, PEI, whatever, it will pop up in Google search and then you click the link. Every single branch, all 10 of our branches, right on their main page will have what we call a swim transition button. So I've provided two examples here. We have one from Ontario, and they have a big red button right on their main page. I've provided another one from Lifesaving Society BC. They also have a swim transition button. Theirs is red on white. So you'll either see white on red or red on white. If you click the swim transition button, it will provide you with tons of information, everything from frequently asked questions to what you will need to do within each specific branch in terms of your trainer, instructor trainer transitions, because each branch is a little bit different with that. And they'll help you through as quickly and seamlessly as possible. So that's the key places where you want to go and check that all out. So with all of that in mind, that's about all I have for now, unless Lesley wants to throw any other comments in before we open it up to questions through the chat.
No, I think that's great, Wendy. That's a lot of information coming at once to everybody. So I'm thinking you may need some time to digest a little bit of it if it's brand new to you.
Now I will switch over to the chat if I can find it. I got multiple screens here. I'm going to stop share at this point. Oh, there's some chats. Here we go. So the first one up here is, what is the cost of the water safety instructor trainer clinic? Lesley, I'm going to jump that one over to you, the WSIT.
For the WSIT instructor clinic?
Well, I think it is if you have an assistant instructor trainer, perhaps who hasn't completed maybe their program, or maybe they mean an LSIT.
Yeah.
So in terms of, sorry, go ahead.
At this time, I don't believe that we are running any more general WSIT clinics. If someone had a particular question about that, then I would suggest you can contact myself or contact your account manager, and we'll see how we can assist.
And if the person responding was inquiring about perhaps a swim instructor trainer or a life-saving instructor trainer, or a national lifeguard instructor trainer, please contact the branch in which you reside for that information. The next one, is standard first aid not a prerequisite for Bronze Cross? It actually is not a prerequisite for Bronze Cross. Standard first aid nationally is a prerequisite for National Lifeguard. Some branches, however, do package standard first aid with Bronze Cross so that when the candidate comes out, they are ready to roll right into the National Lifeguard program without having to take another separate course. So it is often co-delivered. Next one up, can you just address that one? Will there be online clinics available to transition a whole staff of instructors? So at this time, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lesley, individual instructors will have to go through the eLifesaving platform if they want to do it online as individuals. Yes. If a facility wants to transition a whole entire group of staff, it might be in the facility's best interest to do the in-person swim transition clinic as opposed to the online one.
Yeah, and there are a number that are choosing to do the in-person just to get their do it as a staff training, get their staff going again if they haven't been teaching anything for the past couple of years.
Excellent. Next one, when will the online transition clinics be available? The website still says coming March 2022. And we're staying with March 2022. I mean, obviously to roll something like this out is a big endeavor. And like the Canadian Red Cross, we are a national organization. And we have to be sure that we can present everything in both English and French, that all of the resources are available in both languages. And I can say that the eLifesaving platform is now complete and they're doing some test runs and such now. I don't have a firm date, but we are staying with the March 2022, keeping it open-ended. Again, we don't want to promise something until we know for sure that it is ready to launch. One of the things that you should definitely do is keep an eye on your provincial territorial branch websites, as they will be announcing all of this information as soon as it becomes available. Two questions. Is there a thought of having progress cards as an online version for parents? And can we get these slides, or will the recording be available, and where can we access it? Well, I can answer the first one. The facilities themselves will definitely be able to download the progress cards. In terms of having it available to parents directly, I would have to check with that one and come back. That's not something that we traditionally do. However, I'm sure that if you wanted to, get extras from your affiliate, that could happen. But in terms of direct download, I'm not sure about that. I don't want to commit. In terms of part two, Krista, I would, or MJ, I would bounce that one back to you.
Yeah, for sure. So we will definitely be making the recording available in the next couple of days, and also the slides will be available. If you go to cpra.ca, you can, it'll probably direct you to the bench. If you haven't joined the bench yet, it is free. Just look for the bench link on the CPRA website. It takes you to all of the webinars that we have, and you'll be able to download the slides and the recording. Like I said, probably in the next couple of days.
Thanks, Krista. Next one. Will there be two separate transition clinics? One to transition the WSI to teach up to level 6, and then a separate one that will enable them to teach Rookie Ranger Star. So on the transition piece, we want it so that the candidates will be able, that the swim instructors will be able to teach the full curriculum to include Rookie Ranger Star. And I know that they are working on that now. So hopefully that will all be available with the launch. Next up, will there be a cost of transition training over and above the $21 manual? The short answer to that is no. If you do it all through eLifesaving, it's just going to be the $21 plus tax. That is strictly for the cost of the manual. The clinic itself is free. And it's a little bit different, I think, sometimes when you're doing it in person, but I do believe that the branches are even endeavoring to provide the in-person stuff at low or no cost as well. But the online version is only the $21 plus tax. Okay, next one. Oh, I think we might have hit the bottom of these ones. Okay, so if there's any other questions, please drop them into the chat. And I believe we also had some questions. Oh, here we go.
I was going to say, Wendy,
so a large.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. There's one more question, and then maybe there's a couple. If a couple more come in, we'll take those and we'll provide them in a Q&A. But why don't you go ahead with this last one, and then we'll wrap up.
Oh, wow, it's that time already. Time flies when you're having fun. Thanks, Krista. So it says a large information chart is what we display for our parents. All our Red Cross levels are listed with the most skills, then transition arrows to follow where a completed or incomplete level goes. Can we do the same for the Lifesaving Society? I feel that we have something like this. I know that our transition team who is taking care of the program stuff is working diligently. I am, however, going to take this question and comment. I'm going to direct it back to the transition team to add it to their list of things to do in terms of resources if they haven't already completed it. I think this is a great piece of feedback. Thank you for that. So with that, I'll turn this back over to Krista then, since we're out of time. And I would like to thank you on behalf of both myself and Lesley for attending today's Lunch and Learn, and hopefully answered a few of your questions.
Awesome. Thank you. So thank you. My thanks on behalf of CPRA to both Wendy and Lesley for a lot of information, a lot of great information. There were a couple of questions that came in before, and what we'll do is we'll make sure that we collect all of them, and the ones that came in from the chat, we'll put together a little Q&A and then send that document out, or we'll put that into the bench as well, so you can access it at the same time. And I think with that, we probably should have scheduled 2 hours. There's so much to know about. But if you have any other questions, I'm sure you can get a hold of Wendy and Lesley. And if you need to contact us at CPRA, we'll be happy to put you in touch as well. So thank you. And it brought back a few memories. I have a Walter Safety badge. I still have it. I can't even believe that we got rid of Walter Safety, which I know that I've just dated myself like to be 100 years old. But anyway, so again, thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks to all of you for your time, for sharing it with us today, and wish you a good rest of your day and week. Thanks a lot. Bye.